Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of SpongeBob Now. Today, I will be talking about Nasty Patty and Idiot Box. First, I'm going to talk about Nasty Patty. Enjoy. The episode starts on a dark and stormy night at Bikini Atoll, which reminds the narrator of the time when Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob thought they killed a health inspector, and decides to tell the story. One bright sunny morning at the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob is cooking and Mr. Krabs is having a money bath as the health inspector arrives for a surprise inspection. Mr. Krabs tells SpongeBob to get him one of everything on the menu, which he does. After a few dishes, he orders one ordinary Krabby Patty before he can pass judgment. Meanwhile, a television report reveals that an imposter is passing himself off as a health inspector conning restaurants in order to get free food. Outraged at the prospect of giving away free food, Mr. Krabs believes that the one in their venue is the imposter and schemes to play a nasty prank on him. He and SpongeBob concoct the Nasty Patty, using volcano sauce, seahorse radish, and toenail clippings. For good measure, SpongeBob drops it in the toilet and Mr. Krabs dries it with his filthy gym socks. However, before the health inspector could consume it, a fly goes into his mouth, causing him to choke and spill the patty on the floor. He then slips on the patty and hits his head on the table, knocking him out, and the fly comes out of his mouth. As SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs enjoy watching him suffer from the kitchen, thinking he already ate it, another TV report comes on and says the imposter has been arrested. His picture is then shown, revealing him to be a different individual. Realizing the inspector in the restaurant was real and believing that their patty killed him after noticing his unconscious body, SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs begin to panic and blame each other. Mr. Krabs ultimately decides to take the body out and bury it so that nobody would discover what they did. SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs take the health inspector out to the top of a hill and quickly bury him. In the process of doing so, the health inspector, who begins to regain consciousness, gets hit in the head by a large rock SpongeBob dug up. The police then show up, offering to take them back to the Krusty Krab. Then it starts to rain, causing the dirt covering the health inspector, who was buried upright, to turn to mud and the health inspector slides back down the hill. Mr. Krabs has SpongeBob put him in the trunk of the police car with the shovel. On the way back to the Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs tells SpongeBob to bring the health inspector to the back door and put him in the freezer, using shovel as code for the body. SpongeBob thinks he is talking about the actual shovel and attempts to ask him what he wants him to do with the inspector, nearly revealing what they did. Mr. Krabs cuts him off and makes it look like he was asking about bottles of soda, which makes the cops suspicious. Back at the restaurant, SpongeBob tries to take the body out back and hide it in the freezer. However, the back door is locked, leaving SpongeBob to carry on his most difficult task. He marches through the front door with the body stuffed inside his hat, making him lose his balance as he struggles to walk over to the kitchen door. The officers ask Mr. Krabs about SpongeBob's strange behavior, only for him to attempt to stall them and bribe them with money. The officers are then called through their walkie-talkies and receive a sudden report about two people burying a body on the hill on Shallow Grave Road, obviously Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob with the health inspector. As they are about to leave, one of the cops asks for a soda and Krabs quickly hands it over. But then the cop wants ice as well and Mr. Krabs grows really nervous, prompting the officer to go inside the freezer and get the ice herself. Mr. Krabs freaks out, barricades the door, and makes excuses about not having any ice. The officer simply shoves him aside and she about to get the ice herself, when Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob confess that they have committed a murder and say the body has been hidden in the freezer. When the police open the freezer, however, they discover nothing and deem it as a hoax. One of the officers jokingly suggests that the health inspector became a zombie and walked out if he was killed and hidden there in the first place. Soon after, the health inspector shows up and the terrified officers savagely attack him, only stopping after they realize he's not zombified. The health inspector, still disoriented, informs Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob that they have passed the inspection. They all go to have Krabby Patties to celebrate, and the inspector is hit by the door. The narrator ends the episode by deeming the characters to be idiots. Next, I'm going to talk about Idiot Box. Enjoy. Squidward sees a large box being delivered to SpongeBob and Patrick. They open the box, which contains a giant television. However, Patrick and SpongeBob promptly throw the television away and keep the box. Squidward asks why they threw the television away, and SpongeBob responds with the above quote. Squidward, not wanting any part of this, asks for the television, and they let him have it. Once he takes the TV back inside his house, he realizes that the remote control is missing and he goes back outside for it. He hears SpongeBob and Patrick begin to, supposedly, climb a mountain inside the box and, annoyed by their stupidity, he gives the box a hard kick. A sound of an avalanche suddenly erupts from the box, shocking Squidward. Concerned, he taps the box, prompting another avalanche. Squidward hears a critically injured SpongeBob and Patrick saying that their limbs are frozen and that they have to cut them off, and rushes over to the box, opens it, and the noises immediately stop. He questions them about the noises, but they act oblivious and he leaves. Suddenly, the sound of a helicopter is heard and Squidward ducks. Realizing that it's coming from the box, he angrily opens the box and confronts them again. SpongeBob simply tells him that all of it is coming from their imagination. Squidward says that he has plenty of imagination, to which Patrick replies, "Good, now all you need is a box." Squidward gets a box, attempts to imitate SpongeBob and Patrick's experiences, and fails. After kicking his box in anger, he hears the sound of police sirens outside. Thinking that his kicking of the box is the cause, he goes outside with his box to apologize. He is quick to realize that the noises are coming from the box SpongeBob and Patrick are playing in. Furious, he kicks the box he was holding, which Patrick retrieves, saying, "Whoopee." Another box. Squidward begins watching TV to get his mind off the box, but all the shows that are on involve boxes. He then hears a space shuttle launch. As he tries to think of how they could possibly manage to make such realistic sound effects, he comes to the conclusion that they are using a tape recorder. Angered, he marches outside and demands the tape recorder from SpongeBob and Patrick. SpongeBob tells him that they don't have a tape recorder, which Squidward doesn't believe. He decides to join them in the box to see how they are managing to make the sound effects. After being asked where he wants to go, he asks to go to Robot Pirate Island. However, he sees nothing but SpongeBob and Patrick closing their eyes and saying stereotypical phrases of robots and pirates. Squidward returns to his house and soon hears the sounds of an epic robot pirate battle. Having enough, Squidward decides to sneak in the box after SpongeBob and Patrick go to bed to find a device that could make the sound effects. Late at night, after SpongeBob and Patrick abandon the box and go to bed, Squidward sneaks outside and enters the box, looking for something that would make the noise. A scan of the box proves that there is no such device in it. Realizing that the box is in fact empty, Squidward wonders if it really was their imagination that caused the sound effects, but he immediately dismisses the notion, thinking that it's ridiculous. He mockingly starts pretending to be a race car driver, but suddenly he begins to hear noises. He imagines himself racing, and feels all the movements of actually driving a race car. However, in reality, these sounds and movements are due to a garbage truck hauling the box away. It is then dumped into the landfill, and Squidward flies out of the box, landing face first in a pie. The next day, SpongeBob and Patrick notice their box is gone and they go to check on Squidward, with Patrick remarking, "I hope he's not too down in the dumps today." Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos. Goodbye everyone.